President Trump unleashing an immigration enforcement machine, carrying out his promise to secure our southern border and the northern one. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is visiting active duty military in El Paso, Texas, who are working alongside now Border Patrol agents. They've been there. The numbers are getting bigger per Trump. We have new images of the United States Marines arriving at Guantanamo Bay, where violent illegal immigrants will be detained. Also this, the Trump administration has been working round the clock to round up and deport criminal illegals on flights out of our country. Trump's crackdown has also sparked protesting across the country. In Dallas, people taking to the streets waving Mexican flags. In Los Angeles, police in riot gear forming a human barricade to shut down a protest that was blocking the busy 101 freeway. And in another surprising video, protesters burned the American flag. Well, whose side are they on? I hesitate to put those images up because I know it causes more people just to try to get attention by burning flags. But there you have it.
So you decide at 9 o'clock in the morning, a social media post went out that said protest, and the police let 101 freeway, with everything that the trauma that everything that Los Angeles has been through, traffic anyway, on a Sunday, now they let them shut down an unpermitted protest until 6 o'clock at night. It's unbelievable. And then to understand the Mexican flag and El Salvador flag is not going to sell your story. Your story is, I feel like an American, I've been here. Instead, you're saying, I feel like a Mexican and I deserve to take over here. One of the signs said, America's on stolen land anyway. That's not going to win over today's America. That might have been fantastic in 2020. We're not buying it now. So between that and what's happening with Rubio pushing to shut down the Darien Gap, the Venezuela taking back their people, what is happening on so many different ways, there is a massive crackdown in America on illegal immigration.
Can we just talk for a second about the Darien Gap? That's going to save a lot of lives of women and children in particular. That is some of the most harshest ground to traverse on the planet. And they're
Colombia
bringing
should play a role, too.
Little ones coming through. So to hear that Secretary Rubio is concentrating on that is a miracle, really.
There's so many balls in the air, Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the left, for as much as they care about the humanitarian aspect of immigration, tons of people came through the Darien Gap and lost their lives, to your exact point. That image that we see in Los Angeles, LAPD was ready to engage and arrest folks if necessary. They weren't able to do that. And Bill Malugin says he spoke to the rank and file, and they said, this is the same old crap. We're chasing these guys down around all day for absolutely nothing. And this is what we're seeing. This is resisting Trump. There you're seeing it in LA. You go over to Chicago, and apparently there are these groups where when they see ICE come in these black SUVs, they mobilize. And ICE was actually not able to make an arrest in Chicago on that day because the community mobilized. But who are you mobilizing to support? The guy in Boston who had a second-degree murder charge? The guy in San Antonio who was found with a murder weapon from an unsolved murder last November, who was, by the way, released by Biden into the interior? Who exactly are you protecting? How about the guy in Buffalo, who is someone who was accused of all kinds of sexual trafficking and was found with an innocent young woman who he is believed to be trafficking at that moment? This is who we're going after. So work with us to protect the innocent and act humanitarianly by stopping some of the things that we're seeing.
Yeah, the worst go first. Like, who would defend against that, Marie?
Well, the Trump team has been telling us that the worst go first. And I've said on this network...
Well, there's a lot of transparency. We see
I've said on this network many times, I support convicted criminals being deported. We saw from some of those early flights to Colombia that it included pregnant women. It included children.
Did they come over illegally?
It included, but they had not been convicted of crimes.
No, the first crime is when you break our law of sovereignty.
The Trump team said it will be the hardened criminals, the people Kayleigh mentioned, convicted of violent crimes.
And if they are with other illegals who cross the border?
Are we okay deporting pregnant women who have not committed a crime except for coming here? If we are, then we should say that. The Trump team should say that. Second, freedom of expression and protest is still legal in this country. We may not like it. Yeah. And to Brian's point, I think you make a good point about who are they trying to convince here, right? Who are they trying to convince? I think some of the most Effective arguments I've seen made are, for example, people in the restaurant industry, people in the home healthcare industry, industries that rely on immigrants, both legal, undocumented people going through the system, and are willing to work with law enforcement to say, look, parts of this entire city we are sitting in would shut down if every person who came here illegally was deported. So how do we do this in a way that, to Kaylee's point, protects people from criminals, doesn't shut down major parts of the economy, including the agriculture sector? That's the challenge right now.
Emily.
Number one, protesting on a freeway is always illegal. That's not protected protest, especially non-permitted protest. But secondly, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like we always talk about this, that I think it's a fallacious argument always. It's sort of like saying, if I can't afford to pay my taxes, you know, what am I going to do? Like, I have to do it this way because I can't afford it otherwise. There will be short-term pain as we readjust things. But the notion that the first foundational argument is, well, we rely on illegal immigration in these particular industries doesn't fly, because the American industry is still suffering then if it's not honest labor. And there's a lot of unemployed Americans that then, or legal immigrants that then could be selected for such. I'm not going to like bless an argument where the premise relies on the backs of illegal immigrants. And I think, to your point, you know, we've seen communities rally in the past around protecting themselves from horrific people like Larry Singleton and Richard Ramirez, you know, the Night Stalker, right? And to see the communities rally around so misguidedly these recidivist criminals is horrifying to me, because it means that the message has landed in a way that is so toxic and perverted. And when you see them burning the American flag, well, if it sucks here, you don't have to stay. But the reality is, not only is that anti-American, it's pro-cartel. So everyone waving the Mexican flags and everyone shutting down the LA freeway, you are telling me you align yourselves with the cartels above anything else.
So this mayor decides you can't get to your home in Pacific Palisades, it's too dangerous, but make sure the cops don't get the illegal immigrants out of the streets to block the 101 freeway. They are begging you to leave Los Angeles. You should do that.
Breaking our initial law, whether you are, whatever your health or medical situation is, as you were pointing out, Marie, is breaking our laws to get into the country. And I know during the lead up to the election, people on your side of the aisle did not agree with Republicans on the fact that the first law broken is when you don't legally belong in this country. So I get it. We'll have a different discussion about pregnant women with birthright citizenship. Trump is open for that discussion.